signed our names with no regrets. Only wanted to be the best that we could be. And we wanted this and nothing more than to be true down to the core. We thought we'd live forever, but when the full moon is bright and the wind blows just right, I can hear your voice on the wind. 21 guns into the night till we meet again on the other side. 21 guns, this is goodbye till we meet again on the other side. Yeah, 21 guns.
Beautiful thing to see the family and friends come together and honor his life and his service to our country.
It's great to see you guys out here. This is awesome, really.
Hey, hello out there. How is it going? This is Tracy with Patriots Inside the Wire. Again, Patriots Inside the Wire. Grab your friends, grab your family, send a message, jump on and check us out right now. You can go to Facebook and YouTube if you'd like to interact immediately live. We are on X right now. It is at Patriot on Air. Patriot on Air. If you are on X, you are joining us right now live into a stream. Again, it is Patriots Inside the Wire. You can check it out at patriotsinsidethewire.com. And tonight, I like to call it Wednesday Warriors. When I come in on a Wednesday, and I like to do a piece that I feel like everybody needs to know about it. So I hope you're all doing great out there. It's been interesting. Get out there and vote. I know that. That's big to me. I'm in Texas. So no matter where you're at, there's early voting. But for Texas right now is early voting. And I really want to encourage everyone that your local voting, I cannot stress to you, it's not more important, but I'm going to tell you it is just as important. And you really need to know who you're voting for locally. So getting in your local candidates is where it starts. So please get out there and just get to voting. So thank you for joining us. Patriots Inside the Wire tonight. We have a guest with us, and it has been a pleasure to meet her. There is someone here. He's in politics, and there's a subject we'll get into later as well. But her name is Stephanie Phillips. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Tracy. I appreciate it.
Good. Well, we're so glad to have you. I was just so happy to talk to you and get to meet you. Thank you to TK out there. There's a lot of important subjects. I think there's a lot that we could actually get into, ironically, just a little bit after talking to you that I do want people to understand. I am not afraid to call up a political individual, just as if I was calling a friend. They are there for you. They are in office for you. You really got to get to know. And I always say, and also do not always believe that they have all the answers, because maybe they don't. Maybe you're going to go in and help. So it's always about trying to get the job done, right? But we want the job done and fixed. We just don't want it done. We're not like that, not in Texas. We want it done. We want the border situation taken care of. And I'm speaking for myself here. Anything I'm saying on here any political anything is on my show, Patriots Inside the Wire right now is Tracy Laporte. No one else behind that but me when I am speaking about. Thank you so much, Brent. Hope you're doing well. I see you there. It looks like you're on X. Nice to see you, Phil. We got our veterans showing up. Thank you so much. What I haven't said yet is Stephanie Phillips. Would you like to go by Stephanie, Mrs. Phillips? What would you like to go by?
All my friends call me Steph. My clients call me Steph. You can call me whatever you would like.
Well, we're going to call you Stephs. Hi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your service, each one of you, and showing up here. Phil, it is so good to see you. And Brent, I was thinking of you. I hope that you're doing well. I see you're on X. Go ahead and repost that out there for us. Here we are live tonight on X, jumping in live. You know, I do have to tell you, real quick, Stephanie, every time I get on here, if I'm going live on X and I have to say, hey, I'm on X, jump in and let's get in here. And I'm just like, a different name, please. Anyway, bad joke, right?
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to explain X and that there's X spaces and I'm on X. So join me on X. Imagine that one. It's one, what? Especially, an elderly family member is like, you do know what that is. I'm like, no. That's a social media platform is what it is. So nice to see you, Nick. Well, what we'd like to do, Stephanie, is so I want you to feel at home. Do you know Nick? Yeah. Hi. Everyone out there, join us in here. You can send us information, questions. Stephanie is, when I talk about someone who's open and has a clear view, she has that clear view. So I have talked to many other individuals, whether they are political or not, or a politician. I gained insight into several areas when I was, hey, Ann, how are you? Nice to see you. Do the same for us on X out there. Get this out to Shane, Representative Shane. Get your butt in here. You need to hear what Stephanie's going to talk about. So, Ann, grab Shane, get him watching on X. And yes, I just called him out. So Stephanie Phillips is running for U.S. Senate in Nevada. I happened to go to school in Hawthorne, Nevada when I was younger. So there were just so many things that came together. But there was a reason. There was a reason that I met Stephanie. And there's a couple reasons that I met Stephanie, and a couple reasons that multiple people felt that it was in the best interest of not just me, not just Stephanie, but everyone out there in this country to know. So I said, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's get it out there. So Stephanie, first off, what I'd love everyone that's listening to know is that you are a military mother. When I found that out, I said, that's what it is. You cannot have a deadlier force than a military mother. That is a force to be reckoned with. And I'm speaking for myself. I won't say it for you, but I know it turned me into a nice, but it was like torpedo Tracy. Don't go there. So it's a very interesting thing to be the mom. And then they join the military. So how is your son? How's he doing? Is he doing well?
Well, he's good. He is graduating college in April, at the end of April, and he's been in the ROTC program. So he's been a part of the Utah Army Guard, and he will commission and he'll be an officer. And then he's going infantry, and he will probably go June, July down to Georgia and start a lot of training. And he would like to be a Green Beret. So
wow,
he's got big goals, and he's already received a bunch of awards for being the top cadet in ROTC, and he thrives and he does really well. So I'm very proud of him.
Oh, I can see it in you. I remember all those days, and I always tell everyone. So Stephanie would be considered what some would call out of the DoD a Blue Star Mother. That's a nonprofit, so I try not to refer to nonprofits. What I like to say is she is an active duty military mother. So when you see Gold Star around mine, that means while he was in uniform, he didn't make a choice to take off that uniform. He was actually killed in his uniform. I'm okay. I have my faith. I'm speaking for me again. But I especially wanted to point that out because just the percentage of those that are joining, uh, not great. With everything that's going on, and I'm going to say it, and that's okay. This is me. I'm not PC. And everything in the administration,
Mhm.
I obviously, I just don't know. I would be extra just cautious, and I don't want to use the word worried, but I would be like the extra person. Like, okay, I am watching and paying attention, and I am going to make sure that we are okay. And not just us, but everyone that's in the country. And, that's why someone like your son, and then my son, his was 9/11. So as he's a little kid and we had 9/11, I remember him looking over and telling me, and then he's at football practice that afternoon, and he's like, "Yep, I'm gonna go grow up and join." And I'm like, "Okay." Okay, whatever. Uh, well, he did. So he did do that. He was great at it. He loved it. I will be, Phil. Thank you. Definitely send me messages. Keep me safe there. Thank you so much. Um,
And to Anne, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. And
Yep, I was just about to get there. And she is from Las Vegas, and I know with you and that this would be a situation I do need to put you in touch, and I will. I do believe the two of you should. So, Stephanie and Ann, I see you there. I see your message, and I know where you're going with that. So, I'm not going to talk about it on air. What I like to do is to get into a little bit more about Stephanie. And Stephanie, there was a rally. Can you give us just a little bit of information on what you've been up to and why and how you and I connected?
well, I have been traveling all over the state and I'm out there weekly on the campaign trail, meeting all kinds of people. We had, yeah, the Trump rally. Is that what you're referring to here? Yeah, when he was here. It was a great time. And sometimes what happens at those rallies, I was approved by the Trump campaign to go up front and meet him and all of this. There were 5 US Senate candidates at that rally, and 3 of us were left in the back and only 2 were allowed up front. And it's interesting to see the powers that be get intertwined there and get involved and shun some candidates and then put forward their choices. And I call it the establishment. And being a candidate is very eye-opening, and you see what happens as a candidate. And they definitely, not only in Nevada, Washington, people see this all the time. And it's all about power, money. They want their certain candidate in for whatever reason, and they shun the rest of us. And it's a shame that they do that, because that everybody should have the same shot, the same chance. And yeah, I would love to meet Trump, and I should have that day, but the powers were in play that day. I'll say it that way.
Well, so I could say this. This is not Stephanie. Just to break it down a little bit for our viewers out there, when you say chosen to be there at the rally and to be introduced to Trump, so there's a behind the scenes process that happened where they were handpicked and selected to be the ones that Trump wouldn't have even known that you were there or part of this, or that you were even left out. He has no clue
Mhm.
because those that were there did not do
Mhm.
what we would like for them to do, which is include everyone. So
Mhm.
this is a process that happens that um, you actually brought it to my attention. So talking to you and you're running, it's very expensive. But this is not
Mhm.
all about money. I'll speak for myself. This is about our country and what is going on. So, how does a military mom, Stephanie, that's running for Senate and everything you're doing, not get chosen to be up there, to be known that you're there when Trump comes to a rally?
Well, I don't know. Again, the powers that be are at work and they direct things behind the scenes. And just like there were other people that were there, there was a sitting county commissioner from Lincoln County that was not allowed in because he had previously supported DeSantis. And there are Republicans out there in Nevada that has supported DeSantis, Vivek, Chris Christie, Nikki Haley. I mean, they're across the board. And I mean, obviously Trump won the primary here and he's the candidate. But when these other candidates dropped out, DeSantis endorsed him, Vivek endorsed Trump. So most of their followers, I would say, are going to jump over into the Trump camp. So when that happens, they're Republicans. They still need to be let in. They shouldn't be ousted from a Trump rally. They're there to support Trump. To me, that is part of what divides our party. And there's a lot of division here. And I see it all over the state. And there are a couple of different factions and that you can't have division. Republicans need to get it together and unite together and not do this, I'm going to kick this person out and that person out. These people are Republicans and they were there to support President Trump.
I do remember that rally. I thank you for that. I see your message there, Phil. I know exactly how you feel. Feel free to send in a question. Sorry, Steph, so definitely. I am always cautious, but I'm always honest. That's what I'll say to the few who are out there and asking. I am always going to be honest. I'll never be mainstream media. You mentioned a couple of names there. One I'm very familiar with, something that happened to me. I won't go into that, but I'm still waiting on that apology, and we'll see come hell or high water, I'm going to get it. So, the powers that be, that's an interesting thing. So to me, as just a civilian, actually military mother and whatever hat, but the best title I could ever have is mom. I tell that to everyone. I don't need a lot of things. I just need health, my children, my faith. But I'm not running for office right now. You are, and so I would love to see a military mother in there because I've spent time with you. I've talked to you. I have vetted you. We have mutual common friends who are not only have been in office for a very long time, but it was interesting. I was like, wow, this is interesting. There's an awful lot lining up here. So Stephanie, I guess the part that keeps getting me is I want to make sure that I understand and they understand. So who are the powers that be? Is that like a council? Is that the GOP? So for everyone that's listening in their own state, we can just turn it away from Nevada. Is that something that is common that happens? So
I suppose it is common. I've heard of this before, but actually being a candidate now and experiencing this for myself, I was told, and I saw, text messages that were going back and forth from one of the leads in the Trump campaign that it was the state that told them who to let in, not let in, and things like that. I don't know what was said behind the scenes. All I know is what I saw and what I experienced, and I think it's absolutely wrong. I think we need to unite everybody together, bring everybody into the fold. And when you start shunning certain people and you start shunning, candidates that are running for the right reasons, and because we've got our opportunists, we have carpetbaggers, we have, perennial candidates. We have these candidates that come into these races, but now with what's going on in the country, we see what the establishment has done. We see what these career politicians have done with our country. We need political outsiders and we need fighters. We don't need the people who are going to just capitulate and just give in and go along to get along. We're done with that. We have a country to save, and 2024 is the last stand, I believe. And I've been saying that, And I have urged Nevada to change their strategy. Stop putting in the same candidates that they do over and over, and they know they're going to lose. We already know ahead of time that they're going to, and they do. And then with the division in the party and all of this that happens, that needs to stop. And, people really need to vet their candidates. They need to look at their backgrounds. What do they have vested in the state? Where are they from? What have they done? What have they contributed to the community? Things like that. That is really important, but people don't really take the time to vet their candidates.
Well, you're very right about that one. Phil, I think you kind of said it all for us. We have a question for Stephanie. Where's your so Brent served and has some things that he needs help with, and I get this one a lot because of running military organizations, and your stance on disability rights, and obviously special education across the board is extremely important. It's something that I'm staying on top of right now here in Texas. He'd like to know your stance there, but
is he a veteran as well?
Yes, he is.
So
he's on X.
Veterans, hi Brent. Veterans are at the top of my platform alongside children. And I talk about veteran issues a lot because that's who calls me. For the most part, that group calls me, and I have my cell phone number on my website, and it's on my business cards, my literature, everywhere. People can call me, and they do. And they're actually shocked that I answer the phone or that I call them back. But as you said in the beginning, we're public servants. We are there to serve the people. We need to be accessible, and people want to talk to us. And so I hear all of the problems that people have. Not enough providers, not enough mental health providers. They have to wait days, weeks for phone calls back. They have to wait months sometimes for these procedures that they need to have done. The disability application to apply for that is absolutely horrendous and needs to be streamlined. When you have to hire people to help you fill that out and get that completed, there's something wrong. After all the veterans do for us and the sacrifices they make, it should be top notch for them. And I intend to do a lot of work for the veterans because, and when I heard that they were serving illegals at the VA before our veterans, my goodness. I mean, the wheels have come off the bus when we see that. It just, that's not going to happen. Not on my watch.
No, ma'am. I will back you on that one. That is a subject to me that if anyone has followed to step fact, my son could have been here and got to pay attention when Title 42 expired that Trump put in there. I'm only speaking the truth here. We had a tidal wave. I was in the Capitol. It has been a mess. So if we do not pick our leaders, you're going to get those in there that are doing the backroom talking and picking. And that is not what we are supposed to do. We are in the United States of America. When our service members serve or have served, all of those and their families, taking a domestic and foreign oath. I like to point that out, a domestic and foreign oath. What in the world are we doing when we have housing, food, money, phones, health insurance, cars for what I call a disastrous situation that we have now all across? First, it was Texas. Everyone's like, do something with Texas. Texas, do something. It's like, well, it's all out now. It's all the floodgates open and everyone's kind of going, oh no, like this is bad. I'm like, yeah, we were saying this a long time ago. Like, be careful there. This is why we need, you have to have law and order out there, people. I know there's some people that are just like, oh, we don't need that. Yes, you do. You have to have law and order. It is there for a reason. If it's abused, then that's another situation. But it is there for the guidelines. But should we have to follow the guideline? I'm hoping that we have our morals intact, that we are getting the help that we need when we need it. And so, Stephanie, you and I have talked about a few things. You mentioned Trump earlier. I can say this for him. I personally, after I lost my son, had been working on something that is the Two-Step Act. I can tell you that working with Dr. Tim Wesley, hello out there, he works very close to Alan West. And so usually when I just say Alan West, everyone knows who he is. Great people, wonderful people. Um, it took him maybe, and I'm not kidding you, maybe 30 minutes or less to literally get back and go, wait, you got to be kidding me here. Like, this does not exist, this law. We're like, no, sir, it doesn't. Here's all the research. Here's what we've uncovered. We uncovered that a lot of the laws that are in place right now for the transportation department and things that were being across the border, trafficking, drugs, human, you name it. And every time in session, they said, Tracy, you're not allowed to say the word border. And I'd say, y'all should really let me just tell the full, and I won't say who, it's not a specific politician, it's groups out there. You don't use the word, just don't use the word. And I'd say, you can't censor me, number one, because I've had a son that's been in and served and he's gone. So what the hell else are you going to do to me? A, I'm not really scared. And B, if I can't get out there and speak, I'm going to tell the truth, and I'm not very PC about it. So, when someone looked at that and saw what I had been saying and what others had been saying, and literally turned it over to the Federal Transportation Department within 30 minutes, we were like, thank God. Thank God someone saw the work of something that was missing, because those other laws that fall under there in your state are null and void. And when someone figures this out, that's going to be a disaster. So I'll continue to work with that. The reason I told you that story is because I do believe that if Trump had known that you were there, you are running for Senate, you are a military mother and a force to be reckoned with. And that is who I'd love to see sitting in a Senate seat for me. I can tell you from experience, and everyone out there listening, you do not want to mess with a military mother. So, a mother who knows what it's like for veterans, a mother who is coming from her heart, a mother whose son is going in to defend you in this country is going to make damn sure our country's running the way it needs to run. So that is when I knew we've got to get Stephanie on air. So I was more than happy to get you in here, Stephanie. And I said I'm not PC. So I said, you could
That's
tell me
okay.
yes or no.
I don't like to sugarcoat stuff, and I always tell my clients, I do not sugarcoat. I will tell you exactly how it is, and I'm very transparent, very honest with the voters. And it shouldn't be, you know, politician type talk. It should just be real talk. People want to know where you stand. They don't want the fluff. People want to know that you're real, that you're going to support them, you're going to represent them. And it's really important too to know where that candidate is from. And I have spent over 30 years in this community, and I have been in the real estate business this whole time. I've owned my own company for 19 years. My kids were born and raised here. I have a lot vested in this state. I started a nonprofit a couple of years ago to help trafficked and hungry kids in our valley. There's so many. And I've helped many charities with, donating to them, volunteering my time over these past decades. And when you have someone who's vested in a community and has some skin in the game, they are going to represent the people very, very well. And they are the top priority. Now, you bring someone in from the outside that doesn't know anything about our community, that's not been in Nevada, and then they try and push that person through. To me, that doesn't make sense. I have
No,
Nevadans' best interest at heart.
exactly. And so when I talked to you, that's how I knew. I'll just say TK. Everybody seems to know TK. Wonderful individual. She has a note up here for everybody. Get to know your grassroots politicians. And I've said that so many times since I have lost my son, and I've learned so much that I just figured out. We really just don't have the proper tools and information out, because I'm speaking for me. I can't get it from mainstream media. I'm not turning on, Fox. I'm not turning on any there. I make sure I get my information in other areas. So I was very happy to meet you. So as far as being able to raise funds and being able to run there in Nevada, have you been receiving support, and how does that work? Are you Are you there? I think your internet might have frozen up. Stand by. I know she's there. Maybe refresh it. You there, Steph? Let's see. TK is going to talk for her. Yes, she is. Stephanie Phillips is very authentic. She is the real deal. As she's coming back in, I can tell that the internet has frozen up on her. What we will do is we should jump TK in here too with us. I want you to know that I met Stephanie. We have a mutual interest in a topic, and in that topic, I will be bringing you a story next Wednesday. And so, next Wednesday, the individual that is going to come in is in office. He will be speaking to this topic, and it's actually the first candidate that I've ever seen that brought this up was Stephanie Phillips running for Senate there in Nevada, our grassroots. She's coming back in. I can see that now. Let's get her back over here. But just again, next Wednesday, you have.
Sorry
There
about
she
that.
is. It's okay. I was just breaking into the next week. We have a mutual subject, and I have someone coming on. So we, TK, she's so, I won't put that one, but yeah. I'm glad to have you back. I knew it's the internet. I was like, hang in there, folks. We just need to refresh. So we can do this. So the subject, I guess what I'm going to get at is what got me into this. And I'm going to say this when I meet Tracy Laporte, not on any foundation, not on any candidate running. You have a candidate there that's running. And with extensive research that I did find out that even if it's a pamphlet, even if it is, and I would tell you, go to the DOD, don't go to Tracy Laporte. Go and look at that. You cannot be a veteran. I just want everyone to hear this out there. A veteran is not allowed to wear their uniform as they're running, to be at a rally, to be at an event. And I'm going to go even further. It does mention materials. So whether it's a letter while you're running, whether it's a piece of anything, Stephanie, you can't do it. It's against the DOD. So again, I don't want everyone running to me about it, but I am mentioning this because you do have someone there that ran twice in Texas. And after running twice in Texas, this hurts my heart because they are veterans. So it makes it hard for me to bring up stories when I find them. We have good and bad in everything. Just because someone's in a uniform, I'm going to be careful here because I do appreciate everyone that's serving in our uniforms. But you also got to be careful. That does not mean that everybody's good. So I say we have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we have to wake up and understand that. I mean, it's like in any corporate company. I mean, are we all buddies, or do we have to have that management system that's going? Do you all get along? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it, yeah, let's just stay away from there. I like to think of it as a business structure. And others look at it almost like it's a buddy system is what it is. And it's not a buddy system. This is a business, and running our country is the largest one and the most important one that needs to happen. The individual that's a veteran, I'm not going to mention his name, does have an organization here in Texas that has some things going on. So I really want to tell you, everyone out there listening right now, you need to vet who you're going to vote for. You need to pay attention, and you really need to get involved grassroots level. If you don't really want to go dig through things, you don't want to, you're going to say, who's grassroots? You know what? Like Stephanie mentioned, if we're talking about Stephanie, there's her webpage right there. And it's phillips4nevada.com, Phillips for the number 4 Nevada.com for those that will be listening to the audio later. Again, I'm going to say it, Phillips4Nevada.com. You can hear my Texas versus Tennessee accent come out in there. Get in touch with her. Like she mentioned, she has her phone number there. So Stephanie, I definitely wanted to bring that up. And then I wanted to have you just speak more just from yourself. What can we tell the listeners out there that you would like for them to know? Is even if it's not you and it's something that's happening with election, everyone's so worried right now with the elections and what's going to happen and who's going where, and maybe we just won't even vote because it's not going to matter. And I'm like, no, you have to vote.
Yeah, I hear that quite a bit when I travel around the state, and people say they don't get involved because their vote doesn't matter. It's not going to be counted. They talk about cheating and election integrity and stuff like that. And I say to these people that this is the time that we need to dig our heels in, and we need to double down, and we all need to show up. There was over 120,000 Republicans that didn't vote in the last election. Those people need to come out all across the country. Voter turnout is low. We have a right to vote, and people have died for that right. And we need to be grateful for that and not take that for granted. And we, the people, we are in charge of this country. And we have given that over to the government. And the government has been overreaching and taking the liberty of just controlling the people. But I say to people, get involved. You may not like politics. You may not want to talk about it. It's controversial. A lot of people want to avoid controversy. This is our country. And if people don't get involved and if people don't vote, then we are going to lose our country. But there are those that are standing up, like myself, and being very bold to run for such a seat. But I know that I can do this job. I know I can represent Nevada better than anyone. And I believe in that ability. I've served Nevadans my entire career. What I do for a living, I serve people. I negotiate for them. I bring two sides together for a common goal. I mediate. I represent. I know how to do these things. And to me, it's second nature. So politics is natural for me. And I love people. And that's why I love my job. And I really encourage people to come out. And most recently in Nevada, we've had issues with the Secretary of State because during the state run primary, ballots went out because we have that universal mail in ballot now. So they mailed ballots out, and a lot of people held on to the ballots. They did not vote in that election because they voted 2 days later in the caucus, and people voted for Trump at the caucus. So they didn't vote. They didn't send in their ballot, but yet they go on the Secretary of State website and they see somehow they voted. And their ballots are sitting right in their hand still. So the Secretary of State has said it's a glitch. And, we've heard the glitch thing many times across the country, but hopefully he has a full audit done and they figure out how and why this happened, because that right there is one of many examples of why people think that their votes are not going to count, or that it's rigged, or there's cheating or fraud, or you name it. That's why people do not have faith in our election process.
I understand. I have heard that, and I too encourage everyone. We did earn that right to vote. Listen, I could go through whether it's females. I mean, we have a lot of different areas that we have already gone through to get to where we are. We cannot give up. Even one vote. We have got to get involved. And hey, if you don't want to get involved and make calls or go down and do that, I'm not telling you to go do all that. I know if you don't have the time, but show up to vote. Just show up and please vote. And make sure, like, watch your vote go in if you're really concerned. But get to know in your area. I mean, I always tell everyone, I'm like, look, go to precinctstrategy.com and put in your state, your area, and that will give you information on how the voting goes in the system and how that works. That way, you're not getting it from me. You're actually getting this from, it is the one that put it together. He holds a lot of spaces there on X, so I am grateful that he did do that. And that's precinctstrategy.com. And I'm hoping that will encourage others. So, Stephanie, what was the catalyst that solidified your decision to run for a Senate seat in Nevada, Las Vegas?
So back during COVID, this is what really got me. When they locked us down, they put masks on our faces and our children's faces. They closed our schools and churches. And then you had to get a jab in order to keep your job. For so many of these people, they jabbed our military, all of these young men and women. And we saw what was happening around this country. It was so, to me, it was so un American. I didn't recognize the country I was living in. It was unconstitutional. The way they treated us, they closed our businesses. A lot of these small businesses that they shut down, they're never going to come back. They ruined these people's lives. And it was just absolutely stunning to watch what happened. And I didn't agree with any of that. I believe that, people have the right and the freedom and liberty to, you want to go to work and you know that your immune system is good and you're healthy, and go to work. But this tyrannical government that we saw across the nation, and now still what we see, they want these vax cards, these electronic things, and social credit system, and all this stuff. It's all about control. And Biden said himself that there's another pandemic coming. He said that in 2022. So what are they planning? That something is going to come up again and come back around. And they already saw how many people were going to follow and not question the government, not question anything, and just follow along and just take it.
No,
Not me. I
no.
will never. That is one thing. I have promised many things to Nevadans, but I will never vote for or support lockdowns, masks, vax mandates, any of those things that we saw. None of those. And to mask our children and to close their schools and do what they did to our kids. Kids were not dying of this.
No,
The young
no,
people were not.
no.
So back then, when I saw that, I hopped into politics knee deep, and I joined every club I could. I got involved with everything, and I supported a lot of candidates in the last cycle, and I learned a lot, and I observed, and I was planning this run for a long time, and here I am.
Timing. Yeah, I
Mhm.
believe the timing is there. It's correct. I do believe in our grassroots leaders that we need to have in there. I hate the fact that you weren't on that stage, and then I get to look at the picture if anyone wants to go find that, or Stephanie may be able to get it to me later. I'm sure there's a picture floating around that was there at the rally of who was on that stage when Stephanie was not allowed to. But let Trump know, and you know who I'm talking to right now. Stephanie was there. She's still there. She is running for Senate. She was not allowed on that stage. It needs to be known that she is there. She's a fierce military mom that is a force to be reckoned with. And I even put her in the category. I keep seeing Carrie Lake's name. I put her, I think she might be a little more fierce than Carrie Lake. Like Carrie Lake, fierce. We need her there where she's at because the border is a disaster. So we need someone there like her to take care of that, just like we got to figure out Texas. But I see you at that, up there. And so I was like, well, but why weren't you on the stage? And why is it I saw someone else? And again, I'm not going to mention the name, but I saw someone else and I knew there's an organization here that's actually has filed something against that person. So anyone out there, if you want to do your research, you can. I'd rather not get into names because I like to hear the positives about Stephanie. But it does bother me, Stephanie, that you were not up there as a military mom to be known. Because one thing I do know about Trump, and I'm not on a Trump campaign, just to make this clear, he really does support our military. He really cares about military moms. For Gold Star mothers, I've never heard another president, you know, I'm not really that old though, but let's not date me. But I haven't actually heard. I mean, when has a Gold Star mother or they've been invited there to the White House and had lunch like Trump was doing? That's not happening. Didn't happen before him. And I know that it happened a little, but what I'm talking about is he went out of his way. So I do want everyone to understand this part. So the thing that frustrates me is when someone wants to get into a debate with me. I'm fine to debate anything. I think we should all be able to have a conversation and not have it get out of control. We are supposed to be different. We are all unique in our own way for a reason. I have mine. I'm only speaking for me, and mine is my faith, my kids, my health, and all of that wraps into our country, right? Because if that's not going to go right, what in the world am I going to do? I'm not losing another child, I can tell you that. So that is what makes me fierce. I get it all the time. Why are you heavily like this into the political side? And I say, well, I don't believe that I'm heavily into it. I just am a person who can't stand to see something happen and ignore it. So, with everything that I've gone through, I just can't do it. It's against my own nature. Sometimes it's not even a choice, it's just like something I have to do. So, I see that in you. I see the true American military mother, a force to be reckoned with that can get in there and actually make a difference. Um, if you want, we can shift right now and I can bring up one of the subjects that brought us together. Do you have any more comments you'd like to make about running there in Nevada and for others to get to know or to find you, or last words about that?
Well, I just wanted to say, even though there's a lot of there's attacks, there's negative stuff, that comes along with being a candidate and running. That's okay. That stuff does not deter me. I have been called every name in the book. And, I knew what I signed up for. And that's okay because I'm tough. And, God gave me an extra layer of skin and I will take all the arrows, for the people here. And I will fight for what's right. And I will fight for truth. And I don't mind speaking the truth. Sometimes it hurts, but that's okay. The people
That's
need
true.
to know the truth. And I'm tired of seeing people in our own party in Washington sell us out because they're part of the establishment and they are just self-serving. They're lining their pockets and they're not thinking about us. And guess what? They're spending our money. Our money. And, it's absolutely irresponsible. And until we overhaul DC and we get those people out that are not serving us and get real Americans in there that are really going to do the job of the people and for the people, we're going to have more of the same. So I'm fighting at all angles here. People in my own party, the establishment, these people that are just, their vote is going to be one for the establishment in DC, not for the people of Nevada. And I will do everything I can to stand in their way. And I will fight for this seat and I will fight for the people of this state.
And I know that you will, and we'll follow you through that. And anytime I need to broadcast anything, I'm game for it. You can just say, "Watch out, Torpedo Tracy's coming." um, we'll just avoid the mainstream news. We did just get so we say TK. TK put this up. I saw that too when we were going to go live, and I thought, I don't know that we need to really dig down into that, but I do want everyone to see that it's there. That is a link. You can go look this up. 2024 election. And this is in the comments. This is by someone who knows what they're talking about. This is not by Tracy. This is out there for you to see. And it says Sam and Amy Brown, abortion, Nevada. So go check that out. It's from NBC News. I can't even believe I'm saying NBC right now during this broadcast, but I just did because of TK's post. Thank you for that, TK. Well, we have a, and TK wants you to know to please vote for the grassroots. I do too. When you're running grassroots like this, and there's a lot of backdoor stuff that does happen, just like, I want to say to people, and don't take this the wrong way, it's almost like the old school kind of, I don't want to say gangster, but it's like the bully of, yeah, you do this and you do that. And I'm really big into documentaries. So it's like, we still have a little bit of that going on. We still
Mhm.
have a little bit of that good old boy system.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not changed.
that's very prevalent in Nevada, and I deal with that. I see it, but they think that somehow they're going to deter me, and that I'm going to give up, and I don't give up. So I am in this to win. I am going all the way, and that was another promise I made to the people. I will never give up on you.
Yeah.
So I will fight this to the very end. And people can, when they hear me talk and when they meet me and see me, they can see, they hear, and they feel that it's genuine and that I'm transparent and they can trust me. That's the number one thing that my clients give to me is trust. And I appreciate that so much because once that is established early on, the rest of the deal and experience goes great. And that's so important to me because without trust, you don't have anything. And that's the same thing with a politician and constituent. You have to have trust there. So I want the people to know that they can trust me, and I will not sell them out, and I will stand up to the establishment. I don't care about the money. I don't care about power, the name, the fame. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care about the people and our state and our country. So
That's
we
right.
need people like that in Washington, not these
We need them
established.
all over, and we especially need you in there in that Senate. And
Mhm.
as we're pointed out here, you as an active duty, what that I always say this because normal people don't know what blue star means. So, as a mother of a son that will be serving in our military, former wife of Air Force officer, daughter of law enforcement, respect for those in the uniform and your passion is just right there. I could not have said that better. Thank you for that, TK. So
Let me
glad to
just
hear
make a
from you.
teeny little correction, stepdaughter.
Oh,
Um,
well.
but
Well, you're
yes,
good.
you know,
You're good.
that stuff is important. Law enforcement or veterans, they're very important to us, and I am so grateful for them. And we need to back them up. We need to support them. And so often, we saw the defund the police movement and this BLM movement and all the things that they are doing to officers and what these illegals are doing in New York. You've seen the videos of them attacking NYPD officers, and it's outrageous that they are allowed to get away with this stuff, and they're villainized, these officers, and they put their life on the line every day for people. And yeah, there's some bad apples out there, but you know what, there's a bad apple in everything, like you were saying earlier. But for the most part, our law enforcement officers need our support, and we need to back them up, and I
Yes,
intend to
we
do
do.
that.
We do. And you pointed on something, I always tell everyone, why are you afraid? They put their pants on the same way you do. Or really, what are they going to do to you? And I'm not talking about officers. What I'm talking about is voting in general, politics, and standing up. What in the world? Stand up. Speak. You have that voice for a reason. We have our freedom of speech because of our service members. This goes back to the Constitution. And this is an area that I like to tell people, can you please go back and read your Constitution, please?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
there's a lot in it that we are not using, and we do need to use more of it. So, our Constitution states it right in there. So, you do have those rights. We just got to get more that will exercise those rights. So,
Yeah,
what we'd
especially
like to
the
see.
part about protecting our border and
Oh,
repelling invasion. Yeah,
yes,
those things
ma'am.
that they're not following. And uh, this impeachment, I don't know if you heard about that,
Which
where
one?
with Mayorkas, that
Yes.
Schumer now is already working to have the impeachment tabled and to not run the trial. I mean, it's that's never happened before. Can you imagine if that were flipped and it was Trump and then the Republicans trying to table that in the Senate? Oh my goodness.
No,
So,
I both subjects you bring up. So yes, the two-step act. I was already dealing with the border situation for 4 or 5 years before it was Title 42 that expired when the new administration came in. That expired. We all looked at each other and said it. I mean, I had already experienced it because of what I was working on that is in my law, the two-step act. I already knew, and I was blown away. I had every house rep. I had every association, police, border, you name it around here coming to me and saying, how do I get in there to try to tell you what is going on? And I said, well, so I found a representative and a friend that TK and I share and family that's just wonderful. And I said, listen, how do they get in there and speak up? Within their association, like they want to speak. And so there is a border association, there is a police association, there's an association for pretty much everything. Every one of those, surprisingly to me, I did not know, came in. And what happened is there's a representative that is a police officer who went around and said, listen, she knows what she's talking about. And the officer at the Capitol, he came to me and he said, may I say something? I'm like, sure. And he said, I just listened to you and I used to work at the border. I left my job on purpose. I was getting no support. You really expect I can't stay down there. I cannot, we can't do this. This is awful. And he said, do you know how many times I can't do anything because a rental car is used to traffic the drugs, the humans, and the situations you were in there talking about? And I said, yes, but I don't have the actual updated data. And he said, I do. And so he was making calls to say, hey, if I can't say it, who at the Border Association is going to speak up? So we did have them come in and they backed us. We just did not have our we had a lot going on in Texas, so I'll just put it like that.
Mhm.
A lot happened in Texas, and we needed to take care of some things. So we'll get back at that. But border, most definitely, has always been at the top of my list because it is part of the reason that my son, who had been fighting in Iraq and then on U.S. soil, is no longer with us. So it's never going to not be my fight. It is mine, and I will make sure of that. So that is my goal right there. Like you have your passion, that's my goal right there. I won't let that happen again. It won't bring him back, but everyone needs to listen to me here. May sound like nothing, but starting with what I'm talking about, this is a big step. So I was pleasantly surprised at all these groups that really just wanted to be heard. And he said, ma'am, let me just tell you something. He said, just you can give people my phone number, kind of like you said. My number's out there too. I get all the time people are like, Tracy, quit. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, it's out there. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
pretty loud. So, I don't know. I've already told you, you lose a son, you don't. I mean, I have my reasons, you have yours, but I'm
Mhm.
good. I'm good. Um, but he said, ma'am, if you knew the stories, if the public could find out what was happening, and this was before, so I was in session and he said 1 week ago there was I would say the name and I really want to, but it's one of the most popular rental agencies was parked out in front of the Capitol a week ago. And he said, I can't tell everyone what was happening. And if anyone in this Capitol had realized what was happening, we would have had a stampede running out of here. And he said, let me tell you, it happens all the time. I said, you got to be kidding me. Like, what do you mean all the time? And he said, a lot, all the time. He said, you have struck something that has been bothering our police departments, our border. We have had nobody that will listen to us. And I was like, well, I'm listening and I'm going to do my best. So I met someone, and then that's where I'm going with this. So we do have a subject here for everyone. Stay tuned. This is important. It is a subject that was brought to me, and I was learning about it while in session because while in session, by working with wonderful people who work together, grassroots, like you're talking about, Stephanie, there is a family that does not live far from me in Texas, and my little brother is no longer here. He had property, a lot of land in Tennessee. Um, and some things were happening within our government now in the administration about land and taking over land. And it's called 30 by 30. And I call it Biden's land grab 30 by 30. That's what I call it. So I have a little brother that's no longer here. He could not handle someone from the government or anyone saying he couldn't be there to feed his cow. He couldn't be there, or why does he have you can't have those guns. You're talking to somebody who grew up hunting, grew up outdoors. I mean, not doing anything wrong. And it's like you're really going to try to come in and take their land, their rights, their guns. And I never thought I would have been in this situation, but he didn't handle it well and he's no longer here. So, as this was brought to my attention, I didn't even realize it, and they did not know when they were talking to me. You can just imagine, like, I can feel it in me right now. Like all my blood went, oh my goodness, I recognize this feeling. when they were bringing it up. And what that is 30 by 30. And when I was on the phone with you, we spoke, and I always bring up 30 by 30 because I don't get to hear about it that much. And I'm going to show you a picture here real quick, and it's the 30 by 30 summit. There you go. I've got a picture there. Of course, we've still got TK there, which is very fitting, actually, TK. So there she is again. But this picture right here, take a look at this picture that you're looking at, everyone out there listening. If you're looking, this is an organization. It is the American Stewards Organization. And this is an organization that had to be put together because there are families that have owned land in our country. Now, it's been really bad in the Netherlands, but listen, this is real. Their land, what they're doing is being taken from them. The family 20 minutes away has had that farm or that land for generations and generations. And apparently, we have these new animals that are going to go extinct. One of them is an odd fish. The other statement made was, as well, it's too much noise, to make an egg. So we can't have the tractors that loud. I mean, outrageous statements. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So what animals are now extinct that I've never heard of in my life? And so what I would say is American Stewards is a nonprofit organization that started because the family not far from me had their land taken from them. And what they realized is by working with the Texas Agricultural Commissioner, he stepped outside of not only helping Texans, but he started researching this because he's really big into agriculture. That's his job, but it's his passion. And research this. It started in the Netherlands. The second month in the Biden administration office was to put this into place. And when they put it's 30 by 30, I call it Biden's land grab, 30 by 30 land grab. When this was put into place, it's about food and water. That is what it's about. If you pay attention between the lines of what is going on with that 30 by 30, that is a subject that has to do with food and water. And these lands are being taken from these families federally, like just boom, they're gone. They're out. They can't have their home. They can't have their land. And it's like, what do you mean? And it's like, oh, well, you've got this new animal and it's going extinct and we're going to have to just take your property. I'm like, what the heck are you supposed to do?
I was
This is
just talking
crazy.
about this yesterday, and I've talked about this quite a bit since I've learned about this. And it's American Stewards of Liberty, and they have a lot of great information out there. They have, multiple websites that you can go and research this information. And once I started reading about this, and you read one article and then it references another, and you go to the next one and the next one, and it's very, very involved. It's not just a simple, thing. There's many things that are involved, and you can go down these rabbit holes and really get into this. But this was signed there the first week that Biden was in office, and this was a climate executive order. It was 57 pages, and in that was just a couple of paragraphs about this 30 by 30. And what the intent is that not only domestically but internationally, they want to control 30% of the land and waters by 2030 and 50% by 2050. So this isn't just here. This is internationally, and that's why you're seeing these things happen in other countries. So this is something people need to know about. And just in Nevada, Senator Rosen, the one I'm running against, and the seat that I want to take, and she has put this lands bill out up in the north. And I read yesterday, I was in Lincoln County at the commissioners meeting, and I read an excerpt from this article. And in that lands bill, 30% of Washoe County is all part of that 30 by 30 that he signed. And that's part of that agenda, that they will take out that land and it will, it's under conservation. They call it conservation.
Conservation, yeah.
And that's all it's under the guise of conservation. But they have renamed that. They call it America the Beautiful Act now. It's not 30. They don't call it 30 by 30, but they call it America the Beautiful. And you can see it's right there in the article that they wrote about. But in that bill, 225,000 acres is designated as wilderness. And Biden has gone around in his term, and he has designated millions of acres as national monuments. And that land is taken out. You cannot do anything with that land. You can't mine it. And this land in Nevada is, we have very mineral rich land. The last national monument down in Arizona was rich with uranium. So they're taking out pieces of land to control them, and there's no use. Not for grazing, not for recreation, nothing. Mining, drilling, anything. So people are saying you're taking out this land and using it as collateral for our national debt. Who's going to be, taking control of this land at some point, and the minerals and what's underground? So people, you can go down all these things, and it's in place. It is in place, and people don't know anything about it. And I've been trying to talk about it and learn more about it. There's a lot out there that people can look up and find out. And American Stewards of Liberty is a great place to find out.
Yes. Their website's not pulling up here. I'll make sure that it gets out with the program. I mentioned it. We will have next Wednesday, we will have the Texas Agricultural Commissioner, Mr. Miller, will be with us next Wednesday. And so it was perfect timing to have you here. And then the first person I've ever had, and I'm not kidding, I've brought this up multiple times, not even realizing I had a personal side to it, but they did not. They had no clue. It wasn't until they came on the show. So you can imagine it definitely sits in my heart to a point of this just can't happen. And now let's just make it a pretty package now and call it America the Beautiful. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's put a
Yeah.
bow on it, right?
I'll
So let's
send
put
you
a
that.
bow.
I'll send you that article and you can read about
Oh,
that.
yeah. I will
Mhm.
talk about that next Wednesday with our commissioner, who
Mhm.
is more
He's
than
very
knee-deep.
knowledgeable about this, because we had a conversation about it, and
Yes.
everything that I had read, he confirmed and added to, and yeah, he's very knowledgeable about it.
Yes, he's been on before, and they have their own hotline number. They've got a lot going. So American Stewards for Liberty, it's not pulling up here, but I'll make sure it gets out. But if you're listening to me out there, American Stewards for Liberty. And if that doesn't get it, go to sidmiller.com. You'll get it there for sure. But it's 30 by 30. And as Stephanie just pointed out to me, they basically just took this little package, put a little bow on it, and basically like saying, here, Tracy, for your little brother, we're just going to make this a prettier package and put a bow on it. How do you feel about that? No, actually, it makes me even more pissed to hear it. It's like, seriously, come on, we're not idiots. We have got to get this together. So, as I've talked about this, I've got to tell you, I mean, again, I've talked to multiple people, and you were the first one that said, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh my God, hallelujah. Thank you, God.
Well,
um,
we have a lot of rural places here in Nevada, and I've traveled to most of the rural counties and talked to a lot of people, and they, some know about this, and I've talked to them about it, and they have concerns, big concerns about this. And so that's why that came up, and that's why I started researching, because I go visit and talk to these people and I hear what they have to say. So I think it's just more people need to talk about it.
yes, ma'am, they do. I agree. TK here is your biggest cheerleader. I mean, and she should be. She knows what she's talking about. I can tell you that.
Thank you,
We
TK.
yeah, we all know a lot of the same people. It seems that we all have a very vested interest where it needs to be all of us. So all of us being that can vote to get Stephanie in there in Nevada. And then in each state, I encourage you to go up and actually ask your representative, do you know about 30 by 30 or America the Beautiful? And what about it? We'll be sure to get something out that whenever you send that to me, Stephanie. But again, on the show, we'll get really deep into it, he will be sure to give you all the information. So there's a special hotline if there's a family out there right now, that is set up just for you. So get in touch. I'm like Stephanie. You can find me pretty easy. And then I will pass you into the organization. But if you look up this organization, it is a great organization. So American Stewards for Liberty. I just had the picture up there, and you can see the news company that was standing behind it. And so when I saw that picture, I went, okay, well, now we've got some part of our news outlet that's actually putting this out. I was happy to see that. And I was actually shocked too. I was like, oh, okay, well, but I know who pulled that together and I know who is passionately just fighting for this. So he and it's not just a job, it's something that needs to happen. So I was very, very happy to hear that you actually knew this. So, I mean, we got into everything between finance, between what's going on in Nevada, what's going on in our country, what's going on with our military, what is going on, that we can do as women to empower each other and stand up and support one another as women should. Our station has the original Rosie the Riveter, and I will put out her show that's on my page, but it's out, Breaking Barriers with May. She is 98. That's hers, by the way. So it went off into space. I'm not kidding, through Boeing. And so myself and a veteran, and then May. And so here soon, they will be receiving the Congressional Gold Medal. So we've been invited, and we will go and see these ladies. There's not many left. There are not many of these women left. But when I think of them, so World War II, and we have Rosie the Riveters working on in the Boeing facility, and they just did an interview with her, and she's 98, and she still runs circles around me, but they're finally getting their medal. She said to me, she said, Tracy, whatever you do, make me this promise. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, what is it? And she said, don't give up. She said, it took me 60 years to get the law I wanted. So whatever you do, you promise me that you're not going to give up. And I said, yes, ma'am. I don't think I can, but thank you for that. And I do want to get into that. Thank you, 2K. So I wanted to just put a little bit of news out there and say congratulations to the Rosie the Riveters, and thank you. And please, women, let's support each other, empower each other, and lift each other up, please. We could get a lot done if we could bring all of us together. TK, which you know quite well, used to be here in Texas, and she's out near you now. She just brought up something, and I didn't say these words about my brother, but TK, what you're talking about there with our farmers and the ranchers, that was the 30 by 30 that, as Stephanie just told us, is now America the Beautiful. Nothing beautiful about it. It's called stolen land, is what I call it. It's land grab. The suicide rate right now, veterans, it's 22 a day. Well, farmers and ranchers right now are 21 a day. Neck and neck. It's too high, too much. And so you are correct, TK. The suicide rate with our farmers and our ranchers is horrible. We have to save them. We have to save them to save their land. That's our land, our food, our water. I hope y'all are listening to me. If you don't have control of your food and your water and your land, where are you going to get it? You really need to think deep about that one. That is one that gets me. But yes, thank you for that, TK. That is what happened to my brother. And I'm telling you, tough. Like, I would have never thought. But imagine someone coming in and taking all your belongings, your land, what you do. I mean, I'm good right now with it, but I'm not good with these subjects. So that's another one on my list. So it's like I've got this one, I got this one, I got my fights, and I'll be here in the end to keep fighting. Thank you for that, TK. As we go forward, Stephanie, you've gotten a lot of things here. There's a lot of people that are vote Phillips for Nevada. I don't know if you know Marcella. Maybe we can get back for the people, by the people. Go, Stephanie. I agree with you there, Drew. Definitely, definitely. There you go. Thank you, hun. Thank you, Marcella. That is what I needed.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, AmericanStewards.us. There you go. So AmericanStewards.us. If you look that up, you will find some information. And again, I want to remind you on Patriots Inside the Wire next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, you will have the Texas Agricultural Commissioner, who does not just work in Texas for this. He's going to come on and he will be brutally honest about it. There's no other way to put it. I don't know if I'm worse or he is, or I'm just not PC, and I don't know what to say. If you want the truth, I'll tell the truth. um, but it's
There's
been
another
wonderful.
website too I wanted to say. It's
Okay.
30 by 30, and it's put out by American Stewards of Liberty as well. And
Is it just 30 by 30?
if no, it's kind of a long, but if you a long website, but if you Google it, 30 by 30, American Stewards of Liberty, I believe it will pop up. But they have multiple ones, and there's a lot of information that they take and they condense and make it easy to understand and put it out there for people. So
Right.
it's a lot and it's very involved.
It is, if it hadn't happened with me, with my brother, and I also hadn't had that relationship as a business relationship, is what I call it, because of working on the law, I would not have known this. I don't know that anyone else is probably listening to us right now and they're not as familiar, but soon you'll figure it out. There's supposed to be a dot there. American Stewards. It is too long to fit in. I was trying to do that earlier before you mentioned it, so I'm glad that you brought it up. But yes, it's a bit long to fit in. But AmericanStewards.us, and then again, just like Stephanie mentioned, American Stewards for Liberty. If you look that up, there's a direct hotline because of the suicide rates. They now have a direct hotline into them just for the families that are affected by this. If you are going through something and you need help, please reach out. If it is in regards to 30 by 30, your land and things that are happening, they do have a specific number. And if
I
you will
think it's
go
under
to,
agrisafe.org or
right,
agristress. Yeah, I believe that's the website. There is a dedicated number there,
yeah,
where farmers can call in and they can speak to a farmer and speak to somebody who has that knowledge and understands exactly what they're going through. And if they are contemplating suicide, they can call up and talk to somebody, not just a regular counselor that doesn't know anything about what they're going through, but actual farmers and people who have that background. And I think that makes a huge difference to be able to speak to agri-stress. There we go.
yeah. Um, I'm glad you're saying it because I've said it multiple times on this show. So it's great for me to sit here and just listen to you be able to say all this. You are correct. They have their own number for a reason. And it's because, can you imagine trying to call 988 or and try to get someone and talk to them just on a normal topic? That's hard to do. But there is no way our pride and working outside, they're not at a desk. Our farmers, our ranchers do not work in the AC, sitting behind a desk. They are outside working. So this all piles up. And by the time they figured out that they are not in a good position, it's usually too late. And so,
I would.
unfortunately,
You mentioned the 988. I'd really like to see a protocol put in place where when people do call 988, if they are a farmer and they have that, they're going through this issue, that they be directed automatically to this number where they can
yes.
speak to somebody who understands. Same thing with veterans. And there are counselors on the 988 number that are veterans, but not all of them. And veterans deal with things only veterans would understand and know about. So I think that if you have a veteran on the line, you got to have that second step. Send them to a veteran counselor that they can get, on FaceTime and get on the phone with, and so that they can understand their issue.
I agree, Stephanie. I do agree with that. The 988 number, I would love to have that divided as well. To our veterans out there, I got your six. Is the easy one to look up. They are veterans that 24/7 rotate. Who's going to answer that call? I'm not telling you don't call 988. Don't call 911. I'm telling you there is other organizations. I got your six, IGY6, literally.com. That's veteran based. And then you have your agrostress.com is where I would go for the emergency number. And again, we'll get more information out about this. So thank you for discussing that with me, Stephanie. That is close to my heart as well, just like the border. I have several situations there. And I do have a situation with DeSantis as well. So pretty much any topic, Stephanie, at any point, if you need someone to stand up and speak, you can call me and I don't bet, but I can probably tell you that 99.9% I've got the story and it's probably me. And if it's not me, it's someone near me between the Gold Star families that I want to talk to, the Fallen Heroes families, the Angel families. These are families that were Border Patrol agents. I am related to one, Javier Vega, no longer here, shot by 3 illegals. I do have a family member that took one pill after a back surgery laced with fentanyl. So I kind of fit in all the categories. And then my brother with the AgriStress, American Stewards, and then, of course, my son that was serving active duty. So I do wear many hats. Thank you so much for that, Phil. And thank you so much for always being here. He's saying bye to us. We do have a question here from the production team, and it is: what are the steps you believe we as a country need to take and continue to take in order to get our country back on track and then progress forward in a continuously positive direction? There's a loaded one.
Yeah, well, it starts with who we elect. It starts with who we have in Washington representing us. And that's like what I talked about before. If you do not have the right representation, that's nothing else is going to go right. So that's why I say we need to look at some of these political outsiders that we have across the country that are being bold enough and courageous enough to stand up for we the people. I've not run before, I've not held office before, but that's the best thing about me because I'm not owned by anybody. I'm not controlled by anybody. I was told early on, if you want to win this election, don't talk about Mitch McConnell. Don't say, this, don't say that, and all this. And I thought to myself, absolutely not. I'm not going to be controlled. I'm going to say it the way it is. Mitch McConnell, that's one of the main ones, needs to go, along with a bunch of them in Washington that are not serving us. And they're selling us down the river. And we see it every single day. They're not upholding the Constitution. We have a complete invasion going on in our country. And it's been going on for 3 years. Everything that Biden has done, he came in and reversed everything that Trump had in place out of spite, and this country was going in the right direction. Under Trump, we had the best economy anyone has seen in their lifetime. Unemployment numbers were next to nothing. Everybody knows how great the economy was. The border was under control. We had a remain in Mexico policy. Everything that they have done to reverse all of his policies have destroyed our country. We see it. The millions that have come in, they're taking services away from American citizens. They're taking jobs. They're committing crimes. We have fentanyl, trafficking of children. My goodness. Not many people are talking about that. And I talk about that all the time. We need appropriate funds in order to fight this $150 billion industry. It is absolutely sickening what they're doing to these kids. And there's millions of them held as sex slaves. Slavery's not over. It is alive and well. And people don't want to address, because this is so evil and it's so horrible, people don't want to face it, but we need to. We're the parents, we're the adults. We need to fix this and we need to rescue these kids. They don't have a voice. They're innocent. And so in answer to his question, it starts with we the people. It starts with the people we elect. When we get the right people in office that are actually going to represent we the people and get things done, rather than line their pocket and go along with the establishment, then that's when we can get some real work done. And we can reverse all of these horrible policies and all of these things that are wrong in our country. And we all know them because we see them every day and we talk about them. That's where it starts.
I agree 100%. You did hit on something. I wasn't sure if I was going to go there or not tonight. Everyone pay attention when she said Mitch McConnell.
Hmm.
You hear that name, Mitch McConnell. What do you think of when you hear about Mitch McConnell? But Stephanie, I want to hear your version.
Well, everybody knows that, he makes deals with the Democrats. He sells us down the river. These bills that we see go on with all this spending and them sending money to Ukraine. He's the greatest cheerleader for Ukraine. What about the United States? What about our border? What about the invasion that's happening and all the money of our hard-earned tax dollars that they are spending? And the candidate with all the money in my race, and you have referred to him earlier in this interview, he is endorsed and handpicked by Mitch McConnell.
Are we talking
So,
about Brown?
yes, so
Yes.
that if he's in there, he's going to be voting a Mitch McConnell vote,
Yes.
whatever that is. And he's got mega donors. And when you are bought and paid for, and when you are somebody's puppet like that, that's where your vote is going to go. Your vote is not going to go for Nevadans. Any
Right.
way that you cut that pie, that's what you're going to get. And I am going to stand in his way and do everything I can to win this election and to stand up for the people. And people need to know this. This is why I'm not afraid to talk about this.
I'm
And
not either.
people need to know this. And you have, the people telling you, oh, you can't, don't talk negative and all this. It's not being negative. It's being truthful. It's being
Honesty.
real. And
Right.
people need to listen, they need to hear, and they need to research.
They need to know the truth. I mean, I am flabbergasted. So the same thing to me. Like it says, nope, don't say that word, don't say that word. And I'm like, you do know who you're talking to, right? Like, actually, the more you tell me not to do it, I'm actually going to do it. So
Mhm,
good luck with that one.
mhm.
No, Stephanie, I agree. Everything you just said. Mitch McConnell, yes, that is an area that you're you're gonna take that one. You mentioned we saw TK brought that up. Sam Brown is someone running there. Um, it is someone that I did see in that picture on the stage, and I thought, where's Stephanie? Because while I support our veterans, those who serve and have served, very much so, especially for what they go through, it doesn't mean you can still come out and commit acts that we can't. So you still have to go by the rules, the law and order that's there for a reason. And there is, listen, people, literally just look it up. Look up the name. It was very easy for me to find. Um, you'll be able to find your information there. So I'm going to tell you right now that one's out. Already tried 2 times in Texas. Texans were smart, did not vote that person in. I'm telling you right now, don't do it in Nevada. Don't be fooled by if someone's in a uniform, and I mean that out of the utmost respect, because to be in that uniform, I mean, that is the respect that we need. That is America, and that is the backbone of our country. Do not put on a uniform or put something even in a letter or anything and try to run off of that back. And I'm not saying just him, I'm just saying it is such a honor to our service members and our veterans to see something like that. I know for a fact that my own family members that have served and my son who's not here would just be disgusted, honestly, disgusted. So that's why we do have things in place in the DoD that state you cannot use that in your materials. You cannot use that even in a letter. If you're running for office, don't try to put that on at appropriate times. Or if it's not putting it on and you never have, it's maybe on a piece of something. And someone's like, oh, and like you said, a bow earlier about America the Beautiful, which I still say Biden's land grab. Um,
I do too. I call it 30 by 30 land grab. That's exactly what it is.
well,
But,
that's exactly. I'm
there's a
sorry.
lot of wonderful veterans that
Yeah,
serve in Congress and that have served the people, and they've done it the right way. And
correct.
I appreciate every single veteran's service, and I'm grateful for that. And this really has nothing to do with his service. And
Correct.
I think you really need to drill down to who that person is and what their background is. What are they about? Who are they going to represent? Who owns them? Ask all of these questions. And just because somebody is a veteran doesn't automatically mean they are qualified for this type of job. And sometimes people, think that that's all it takes, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. If you really look at what you need to be doing in this job, and you look at, maybe what did that person do in the military? What was their job? And and others, what has been their job? What's been their career? You would ask that of anybody, and you wouldn't automatically qualify somebody in another business or some another career. But sometimes, the veterans automatically will get a pass, and we've got some great ones that represent us in
We
this country.
do.
Hmm.
Yes, we do, and I'm grateful for those great ones that
Hmm.
are out there. Let's see what you're giving us here. Someone's putting it here, and they're catching on. They're saying Captain SB. They are referring to Captain Sam Brown. I've said it. I'm saying the truth. That's what I do. I'm not PC. I'm not mainstream. Time to take back America. I totally agree. Thank you so much, Nick, for saying that. And then Jason giving us the DoD directives, everything you can get right there about what Stephanie's talking about. Because what I want to make sure that you're listening, listen to me, the utmost respect for our veterans. This is not about not wanting a veteran to run. This is not about anything to do with that. This is about the background of someone and some things that have happened when they got out of the service. So I'm not going to go there as far as their service, because just serving in general to me is, um, one of the highest respectable things that I think that we have in our country. So, but again, just like you said, Stephanie, I'm not going to go get a job somewhere unless someone's going to check out, who I am and what I'm about. So how in the world are we going to elect people when we really don't even have their background? We don't have resumes and backgrounds, and people really think that we do, and we don't. And it's the grassroots movement that will have it. So our grassroots representatives that are running right now, that is where we need you to pay attention. And right now, the one we're talking with is Stephanie, and it's Stephanie Phillips. She is out of Las Vegas, Nevada. She is running for Senate there in Las Vegas. If you can, please go to Stephanie Phillips. You can go to Stephanie Phillips. And her internet went out. She's coming back. Her internet went out. I'm going to say that she has spent quite a bit of time here with us and been out all day. So we appreciate that she has taken the time that she has to come in and dealt with, of course, the internet issue. But Stephanie, thank you so much for coming in. We'd love to have you back. And again, we love and respect and appreciate you all out there for listening to Patriots Inside the Wire. Tune in next Wednesday when we actually have the Agricultural Commissioner at 8 p.m. Central. And we have Stephanie back to give you some closing statements. There you are.
Sorry about
No problem.
that. I don't
Hey,
know.
it works perfect. I just go into what we're doing next week because I know it's technology. So, boy, you've got a lot of comments here. A lot of people really want to talk to you.
Well, they can go to my website that's been, scrolling on there, and under the contact information is my email address, my cell phone number. It will go directly right here.
Yeah.
So people can call me, text me, and if I don't answer right away, I will call you back. So
Yes. Wonderful. So her email has been scrolling down there. You can get information there. What would it mean to you, Stephanie, to become the first female Republican senator of Nevada?
I see that question, and that
Yeah.
is an awesome question. I'm surprised that a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And it would be history for Nevada.
Right.
And I would be so honored to be the first female
Well, this is
elected
history for females all
Republican.
over.
Yeah. Well, I'm the first single mom and real estate broker to run for this seat as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to have that honor as well, it would be for Nevada. And it
Yes.
would just, I would appreciate that. I think it's great. I think it's time that
Yes.
the Republicans elect a female, and we get stuff done. Us moms, we can multitask like nobody's business, and when we are determined, we are motivated individuals,
Yes.
and we are purposeful, and we get things done, and we work hard.
Yes, ma'am. I am right there with you, and I'm gonna add on to that a military mom, so watch out. That's
Mhm.
where the fierceness comes from, and when they go in, let me tell you who they got it from. They got it from the Rama. I know that's how my boy is. He got his fight from me, so I can guarantee that I bet if I met yours, we probably have some twins there. I
Yeah, we
bet you
would.
that.
I have 2 incredible kids. I have a daughter as
Oh,
well who's 19, and
beautiful.
she was an incredible athlete, and she graduated with honors and had over a 4.0, and my son as well, had incredible grades and was an athlete as well. My kids are very successful, smart, independent, responsible Republicans and Christians, and
So
I'm
good.
so grateful. Yeah, my faith is very important to me, and that's something we didn't talk about. And
Yeah, I'll
we're
do.
one
I
nation
do that.
under God,
Yeah.
and we have gotten away from that so far in this country, and that's another thing, to have elected officials who are God fearing people. That's very important.
It is, and it always makes me think of the schools. I mean, there's so much to be done. We have got to get in. Listen, moms, females, I could bring up all sorts of categories because I think it's important, and it's not. I don't think of it as just Las Vegas. I think of it as the country as a whole. How
Hmm.
are we going to solve all of this? It is because of who is in each area. So this is like, this is a job that has to be a strategic play as to who is where. And the only way that's going to happen is to have the right people in place. And so
Hmm.
by having the right people, it's not people who are fed the money. Follow the money, people. Always follow the money. You'll find it. It's not that hard. I mean, I've been able to find quite a bit actually that we can't even fit into a. We've even gone over. You can't fit this all into one episode. So, but I've enjoyed every minute of it. I see all of these questions here, and I think that Nick, you might mean Sam
Sher
Brown.
He's talking about Sherrod Brown,
Okay,
who is a Democrat senator from Ohio,
Ohio.
and he's in the Senate now. And people have told me that he is related to Sam
Oh,
and
really?
is part of that family. So, but yeah, he's a current sitting Democrat senator from Ohio.
Well, I'm not going to say where I've got it, but if you follow the money, it doesn't take much. You don't have to have, if you've got a little bit of common sense, and we all do, you can look it up, follow the money. It is something that's out there for you to see. And when you see what little bit I've seen, mm, you can tell there's money coming from somewhere. And when I talk about a true Republican, that's not it. Sorry, I just tell you the truth. That's not it. So we want the correct individual in there, which is our grassroots patriots. Our grassroots patriots are the ones that are going to get out there and fight. You not only have a mother, you have a military mother. And I keep mentioning this because I'm going to tell you, it doesn't get any more fierce than that. So there is not anything she's going to come across that I'm telling you that she will not back down. That is what it takes to be able to, raise these kids and have a kid that wants to go off and fight and be in there. And you know what? We, without even knowing it, we did that. We we taught our kids to fight and to stand up and to always pick your right, take up for people, no bullying. Like you jump in there and you do something. Um, and you mentioned other children. I have other children. My son that's 14 right now came to me and I've taught him. I've said, oh my gosh, Stephanie and everybody listening, I had to go back to fifth grade. I homeschooled all of fifth grade. So there's that show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Do you remember that show? I was like, oh my gosh. But I would have rather done that than what was happening during that time. So it was very interesting. But what I taught him is I said, listen, you are the CEO. You are the company. So when you go in that school and you're going over your work, or you're going over some things you said, and maybe if there's a mistake by the teacher, because people make mistakes, or that's not correct, and he's very smart. I said, you're the CEO. Step right up, let them know, no, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. Here's how it works, and I'm not going to do that. And he was so happy. He got in the car the other day. He said, guess what? And I'm like, what? He said, I was the CEO today. And I said, what? And he said, I was the CEO today at school. And I was like, what would you do? And he said, they are trying to tell me I had to take, he's been out sick. And it's not what anyone's thinking. It's, they found something, but he'll be okay. We're taking care of him. So with being out, missing work, and he likes to keep his grades way up there. So I'm fortunate. Um, he stood up. The teacher's like, no, this is due today. He had just come back. He'd been out 2 weeks. He had a pile of work on him. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. And it's actually within my rights. I've got a doctor's note. I'm not taking your test. You can't force me to take the test. So whatever you need to do to me, you do it. But I'm sure the next would have been call my mom, but I didn't get any phone calls, so he handled it. And
Good for
they went
him.
through 3 people, and finally, the third person, the gentleman at the school, walked right up to Cash. You got the other 2 ladies, teachers. They are going, and his comment to him was, "Don't you feel like you've had adequate time already? Because you could get online at home right nowadays and do school because of what's happened in our country, the pandemic." And I said, "What in the world did you say to him? Because it makes me angry just hearing that." And he said, "I told him, I'm just now back. I wasn't sitting around my house doing nothing. I was laying down in the bed sick. So if you'd like to discuss this, I can discuss this with my doctor and other people. But no, I'm not taking your test today, and I'll let you know when I'm going to take it." And I said, "Good for you.
Good
That's the
job.
way it's supposed to be done."
Advocate for yourself.
Yeah,
I've taught that too
exactly.
with my kids.
So
Yeah.
everybody listening to us out there. So it doesn't just go for moms teaching the children. It is just reminding everyone, hey, let's take back what we need to do. Let's take back our country. Let's get it running in the direction it needs to go. Let's all do our part, support each other, and just recognize if we're not going to agree, just agree to be respectful, mindful, and kind. And we will get a lot further. So there's a lot of work to do. And Stephanie, I look forward to hearing more from you. And it's been a pleasure to have you on Patriots Inside the Wire.
Well,
Definitely.
I appreciate you having me on, and I just wanted to leave people with where to find me on social media. And of course, my website is down there, phillips4nevada.com, and that's the number 4. And all of my social media is Phillips for Nevada, which is the
Okay.
number 4 again. Phillips for Nevada. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X. I still call it Twitter. Truth and Getter, and people can find me, follow me, jump on my website. I do virtual town halls once a month. I have one coming up on February 27th.
Okay.
And all you have to do is go on my website, hit register town hall, put your email in there. You'll get emailed a link, and people join from all over the state. And we talk about whatever people want to talk about. They can ask whatever questions. That's part of another thing of how accessible I am to the people. And I put that out there for anybody to join. And it's been
That's
great.
great.
People can be free to say what they want. And I listen and they ask questions, and it's been great.
Well, Stephanie, it's been a pleasure. I mean, Phillips for Nevada, as she mentioned, the website, if you want to go under there and look at some of these topics, because you've got so many questions here, um, go ahead and look at the website and you'll be able to get that. We will actually just get Stephanie back on. We've got a lot of people with a lot of questions. So I knew this would happen. We have a very large military and political following based on the organizations I've been involved with. And then music, it's kind of like, that's like a what? That's what gets me through it. Music is like it's medicinal for me. So, and that's how TK and I are connected. Um, and when we
Well,
say TK,
all of your listeners and people out there with questions, you are all welcome to call me, and I will answer your questions. You are more than welcome to jump on our town hall. You do not have to be from Nevada. You can be from anywhere, and you can find that register town hall button on my website. So everyone
sounds
who
great.
has a question is welcome to jump on with us.
I would say to do that, get on there, ask those questions we kind of rushed over tonight. If you want to know more, you got Mitch McConnell in here, you've got Captain Sam Brown, we've got Trump that we wished had seen that Stephanie was there and knows who she is and that she is there in Nevada fighting. So you're listening to me. I've already sent you information to a couple of people out there. I want you to hear this. Go check out Stephanie Phillips, phillipsfornevada.com. I want you to get this information over. Let them know she was there. She was left out. She's not in the picture. She didn't get even the option to be up there. So, this is not the fault of Trump. This is what happens in our local areas where they want to handpick people. And so, we just want you to know that this is going on and that we support you. I better say but I bet you Stephanie would say she does. She would love to have been on that stage, I'm sure, with Trump and should have been. So, especially as not only a female, but a mother and a military mother. So, I was a bit uh, bothered that this happened to you. So, I really believe you should have been on that stage. So it disappoints me that you were not, but that was not Trump's fault. I do want to point that out because I've had several people say to me, um, and there's a whole process. So no, Trump had no clue. This was not his decision. So this is not something you can either blame on him or go the other way. We are just simply stating that Stephanie is out there. She's running in Nevada for Senate, Las Vegas. She's there at the rally. We wanted her on that stage. We want her to be known that she is running and what she's running against. So she's got Mitch McConnell going on. She's got Captain Sam Brown. I don't even want to get into the rest of it. But between everything you've got 30 by 30, I'm not even going to say America's Beautiful. I just can't say it. I don't put bows on packages, like literally. It's kind of like that's extra money. But anyway, let me get off topic. I know I'm talking about politics so much, and I just want to say thank you to everyone out there that has been with us and they are listening. And we just want to make sure. And the reason I keep repeating, but you're repeating the thought for me, yes, because I want you to remember it. phillipsfornevada.com. You can get a hold of Stephanie there. There is a contact area, there are town halls. If you don't get her there, get a hold of me. You can go to patriotsinsidethewire.com. We thank you for joining us tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire. Next week, we will have the Texas Agricultural Commissioner himself, Stephanie. So you should tune in, and TK can, and we can get even more out of that. So that is about 30 by 30, what we were talking about here tonight. Stephanie, send me what you were talking about, and I'll get brushed up on that. Do you have any closing words?
I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time and getting my message out there and letting me talk with your viewers or letting them listen. And I appreciate the time, and I just hope everybody visits my website, my social media, gives me a follow, and contacts me. I'd love to talk with them.
Definitely follow her. So now go to Phillips for Nevada. So you got X, you got Facebook. I saw your Facebook. All the platforms. Definitely go follow Stephanie right now. Pay attention to Phillips for Nevada, and then check out the website. So we thank you, actually, Stephanie, for stepping up to the plate to run there, as you're going to be in the Senate. And I, for one, cannot wait to come out to Las Vegas and meet you in person. Or if you're here in Texas first and we get you out here, we may get you out here to talk more on what's going on in our agricultural department, because we like to work with multiple states on this. So you never know. It's either Vegas or Texas. So we'll make it happen and we'll get you back on the show.
Thanks.
I loved it. It was great. Yeah,
Thank
wonderful. Well, to everyone out there listening, thank you for listening and hanging in. We are on an hour and we're almost at 2 hours. And the good thing is we have the people paying attention and wanting to ask. So that's good news when that happens. So thank you all for hanging in there tonight. I know that, yeah, I see it. Yes, sir, it is. It's him. He will be on next Wednesday. So the commissioner is Commissioner Miller, Texas Agriculture. But don't let that fool you. He's not just about Texas, although he's Texas. Just look at him. He's Texas. But very, very, very wise, educational. Look up the Netherlands if you want to know more about where all this started at. The the Netherlands. It's a tragedy what's happened with this. I call it 30 by 30 still. Stephanie, I have enjoyed having you on. So I am glad to have you on Patriots Inside the Wire. I cannot wait to see you in person and TK. And I want to see you on that stage. And I want to take that picture where Trump's up there too. So I think between us women, a group that I'm thinking about right now, I think that we could make it happen. So that's what I want to see. Let's get you in that picture. I'll take the picture myself.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. So we have an exit that we will play here for you, and then we'll say goodbye. But what we will do is play this out for you, and then we will say goodnight. Stay with us just a moment.
Thank you for watching another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
Outside, let's so out my brother Two-Step.
And again, thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie. That was my son went by Two-Step, who's no longer here. That was his little brother. And he wanted to do a cadence there. So he's saying, roll call, silence. And my brother, Two-Step. So his nickname was Two-Step. So
sweet.
Yes, very much so. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. I love when I can sit down and talk so freely about what's going on and what we need to do. So anytime we need to get you back on here, we can do that. I'm very flexible, so we'll make sure that it happens. Everybody go to phillipsfornevada.com, and we appreciate you and your time for joining us tonight. And we hope that you join us again next Wednesday. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Good night. I'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.